It's so crazy, dude. You can't. I mean, even a Coke is like $15, dude.
Right.
Ugh. It's like, do you want the commemorative one? No, I don't. I just want a fucking wax cup with soda pop in it, please. Oh, well, we only got cans for $3.50. What? I told you at the Morrissey concert we spent $120 on like 3 beers and 3 mixed drinks.
Damn.
It was like $40 a piece every time I went back to go get more alcohol. And then I was like, fuck it. And it was like shitty beer. It was Tecate, right?
Oh, wow.
Like, don't you have anything like fucking imported back there? Oh, I'm sorry. And granted, the beers are the talls, right?
Right.
The extra talls.
Well, because who wants to go back is, you get the big one.
But you do.
Well, of course you do, but I'm just saying it's more time of not going back.
Yeah.
The bigger it is, hopefully.
Yeah. For that much money? For $15 for a fucking beer?
Yeah, but you're in the venue. That's how much they cost.
That was Vegas.
I'm going to tell you right now, the people that corner the market are the vendors at festivals.
Oh, shit.
Like when it's fucking July, dude, and you're at a music festival and you're like, I just need something to drink. And there's like a line of people just going, I need something to drink.
Yes. A truck full of water. Yeah.
They're all a bottle of sweat, and you're like, I don't care if it's a soda, water, beer, liquor. I need fluid.
Right.
Well,
and what's shitty here too, and it's everywhere, I guess they take the caps off or they open your beer, right?
Yeah, of course.
Fuck that. Man, that pisses me off more than anything, man. So I wanted to come up with an invention that you could sell.
Okay.
To concert goers is like a beer condom, right?
Okay.
So it's just like one of those little bitty deals where, you'd reverse and it'd be like, remember those?
Of course.
Right? But you could get these beer condoms and nobody's going to confiscate that shit. They're not going to go off in a fucking, whatever you call it, where you have to empty your pockets and shit. Metal detector.
One of those things.
You don't have to do that, but yeah, you put this little bitty condom on there that could be reused, right?
Right.
Because it's a little bit thicker plastic. Then you could put the fucking top on your beer. You know what I mean? And just be like, fuck it.
Absolutely.
I don't give a shit. And then you could buy multiple beers. You could buy like 6 of them.
It's true.
Red Rocks is the worst because you gotta go. If you're really good, you get a place right by one of the beer stands.
My wife was going to get tickets to Red Rocks for the 420 thing they have with Method Man and Red Man and all that.
Oh.
And I said, no, we shouldn't do that. Because I think that we would enjoy a portion of that show. Mm-hmm. Like, there's some people we would enjoy. But if we're going to go to a show, it's cool because it's close to my birthday.
Right.
And it's at Red Rocks. Super cool.
Yeah. You know what?
Did you see we're getting a venue here?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. My wife was telling me that we were supposed to get like a Red Rocks venue here.
It's 8,000 capacity.
Where's it going to be?
So it's going to be Polaris Point. You know how the power is extended to Polaris Point now?
Yeah.
So it's going to be over there.
Okay.
It's called the Sunset. Because when you like let's say you're the screen or you're the
band playing,
the band playing,
yeah.
Behind you are the mountains, and it won't start until the sun sets behind the mountains.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that'd be fucking rad, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I hope
it's
I'm
as
big
as the World Arena.
Oh shit!
Like the same capacity. It's probably bigger because of the layout. You know what I mean? But
that's great though, because we're getting bigger acts here,
right?
But we don't have the capacity. Like Sleep, I got tickets to Sleep for their 4:00 matinee show. They sold
it's
out.
Called Nap.
Yeah, they sold out so fast of their first show at the Black Sheep that they added the second show, and it's on the 19th, 4/19, and I was like, holy shit. I'm gonna go see Sleep. You know?
Oh yeah.
That's pretty.
Quite good. Attack warning. Is it for real? Attack warning's for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, everybody, to the Drop Culture Podcast. We're that podcast where we pick up that piece of pop culture you forgot about or missed, shine it up real nice, and cram it in your ear holes. Going to be doing something a little different today. It's a little drop culture, but it's top 5? Is that what we're doing?
Another one.
What?
We do a lot of top 5s, and this one's going to be a good one.
Yeah, mine's like top 7-ish. I don't know.
Yeah, I got like
I don't
20.
really have an order.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, honestly, we could throw out the order, but
What are we talking about?
B-list superheroes that you would like to see do more.
And I think the parameters that we put around this, it could be B-list or below.
Mm-hmm.
And no runs over 100 issues. Was that right?
Somewhere like
Something
that.
like that.
Yeah. Limited runs.
Limited runs. Yeah. Let's say that, because there's one on my list, and I kind of had him in the honorable mention, that I know has had some runs, but I don't know how long, to be honest, or when the most recent one was that was of any significance.
I think I only have one that I could really say two had long runs.
Okay.
Maybe over 100.
Okay.
But I'm
That's okay.
I'm not 100%.
You're not 100 on your 100?
Nope.
No.
But there are a couple ones, and it was kind of difficult to look through these, because if you had a year to go through them, and like read very good stories, which I have started to pick up stories like Doom Patrol from Grant Morrison.
Okay.
When it was like Crazy Jane was really big, and because when he started on that run, he added Crazy Jane to it, and it kind of grew from there. But this one's kind of in the mid part of the 90s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. It's pretty good.
Nice.
Pretty good series. And there's a lot of characters in that are just wacky and all over the place, which is pretty cool. You know, so those are the comic books that it was like fucking Arnold. These are the ones. It's like these are the kind of comic books I'd like to read now.
Okay.
The big ones, Superman, Batman, Captain America, this is still good.
Sure.
But because I just got done reading the first 2 years of Batman from 2016, New 52.
Yeah.
Pretty
stuff.
good.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff. Yeah. But it's just that obscure stuff.
Right.
You know, that you just grow.
And there's at least 1 or 2 characters on here where I was like, this is for me. Mm-hmm. This is what I would like to see. And not because anybody else will ever care about this character.
Right.
You know? Because,
Yeah, it was a cool exercise and just kind of research. And again, thinking about it, and then finally putting a list together, you're like, damn. There's a lot of people on this one.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna preface everything by saying that a lot of the characters that I have on mine, a lot of the heroes, I think if put into the right hands, would definitely, like surpass a lot of shit.
Oh, absolutely.
They would get put up in, the Hulk range and shit like that with the right stories and the right writing, consistent writing, like a consistent Hellblazer. There's not one issue of that. There's maybe one or two that were a little bit slow.
Right.
But he's an A-lister, you know?
Should be.
Yeah.
I don't think he necessarily is. I'd say he's more of a B-lister.
Well, he's got...
But no. I mean, in the way they rank them
Right.
he's a B-lister.
Yeah, but he's got more power than most of them do.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely not in power level. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
More than Dr. Fate. Big time. I just started reading his New 52 series, too.
Oh, nice.
There's some good years in there.
Sure.
From the 88 to about 96 was very good for DC. And Keith Giffen was like rocking it. And then the New 52 stuff. Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder.
Yeah, Scott Snyder's amazing, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Those were great stories for sure.
Yes. So you want to kick us off?
No.
No?
Nope. Kicking it back to you, my friend.
All right. My first one that I would like to see more of, and again, he's part of a major team. He is a critical member of an early version of that team, I guess early, but not like the very beginning.
Okay.
It's Havoc.
Okay.
I would love to see like a Havoc, you know, like 5 years of Havoc.
Like X Factor?
Just Havoc by
Just
himself.
Havoc.
Yeah, just Havoc by himself. Going between all the different teams and really digging into what that character is, because he's overshadowed by Scott.
Of course.
Big time.
Yeah.
And even the Starjammers, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I think Havoc could probably really hold his own as a featured character.
Well, it'd be cool if you had the Havoc and Polaris relationship in there, because then you'd have something to have a hold of. And
right.
she has some crazy moments, you know, that he deals with as well. And I'm not saying he doesn't have his own.
Right.
But like that, you could make a cool story with that. And have it be deeper than just this is a comic book movie. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No. Yeah, you have those really long arcs, but you also have the interpersonal brother, you know, girlfriend, everything like that. So you really kind of get into that. Almost like I was going to pick Nightcrawler too and Rogue, but I already kind of talked about them. Again, Right Hands, you have amazing stories in those people. And I think eventually, everybody will get their due when the right people get a hold of it.
Agreed.
You know, there's a couple of heroes that you never would have thought would have been as big as they are, but they got the right people.
If this is not part of my list, and I think that's a great idea. I didn't include any X-Men in mine.
Ooh.
Now, that's not because I don't like the X-Men. But if I were going to do an X-Men story, so this is just a little honorable mention, I guess, I would do Storm. Yeah. And I would do Storm from a young child to Goddess to really probably some first battle, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Professor X shows up.
Ooh.
And that would be my movie.
Ah.
I think she is one of the more compelling X-Men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She does have one of those very rich histories.
Yeah. With Havoc, I think that you could absolutely, like I said, you would want to have certain characters that would give him that relationship.
Yes.
And even Scott, to some degree, you know what I mean?
I think having that
maybe
brother...
not Vulcan.
No, yeah. Like the brother thing.
Yeah.
You know, and the sibling rivalry type of a deal, the respect that Scott has for him.
And what was really cool about them, too, is that when they fought, their powers can't hurt each other at all.
Yeah.
So which is kind of weird to me a little bit, because Scott's beams aren't like a beam, they're force.
Yeah, it's energy.
And I know Havoc absorbs energy, though, from something.
And then shoots the same thing.
Then shoots like a circle thing out. Yeah, circle energy.
But
But yeah, they don't hurt each other. So they could just like fucking go at it. Could you imagine that scene of them just going at it and nothing happening to them, but like everything being destroyed around them?
Right.
That would be a super cool scene.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, I'm also thinking about, just an overarching story with them.
Sure, no, 100%.
Comic book kind of a deal
Yeah.
where you don't have like 6 hours to kind of, you could really get into like a buddy kind of a thing with him and Cyclops.
Okay.
But then you can also introduce other X-Men at different times.
Okay.
To where, but I don't know
So,
who
buddy brother cop movie.
Yeah, but I don't know who like Havoc's main person did that raise it up?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. For some reason mine's down low.
It's all good.
I think that you have those stories in it and introducing the other X-Men characters for familiarity, but then also like who's his big bad?
It's the X-Men's big bad. You know what I mean? It's one of those from that time or X Factor time. You know what I mean? I don't know who that would be off the top of my head.
Who would be?
But I mean, you think about the
antithesis?
ancillary characters anyways. Like if you're going to have Polaris, well, that's Magneto's daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's already a tie there.
Yeah.
You got Cyclops as his brother, so you're tying in, you're going to tie in the whole X-Men universe at some point.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a natural way.
Yeah.
Which would be cool if you did it that way.
Yeah.
In a natural way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Kind of made it to where it's like after he leaves the X-Men for a time, kind of goes out on his own and kind of steps out somewhere. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know what? I'm taking some time, but yet he can't get away from it.
I think that's kind of happened in the comics with him.
I think so. Yeah. Again, I think with the right first arc, it would grow.
Right first arc, the right people handling it, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Like I said at the very beginning, that's going to be the
caveat.
Yeah, the main theme between everything. Okay.
All right, my friend. My first one is a guy named from Marvel, and his name is Solo, James Bourne, and this is a deep cut. This is like for me because I always liked this character.
Okay,
and so basically he's like, I think he was Special Forces, and he got involved in this program. I think it was called Omega Strike.
Okay.
And it was nanotechnology that they put in him. Like him, like out of like so many hundreds of people that volunteered for this, only 12 made it. And they were given this nanotechnology so they could teleport at will. But here's the thing with Solo. He is so he was like a counter-terrorism kind of guy. That's what their unit did. Like went and took terrorists out and shit.
Okay.
But he could teleport, but he could only teleport short distances. It wasn't very far. Picture the Punisher with the ability to teleport. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That would be pretty fucking cool.
Like you start out with him working with this terrorist unit,
Yeah.
and taking out terrorists, like popping in and popping the terrorists and then popping away,
Yeah, kind of almost like Nightcrawler, huh?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. But the Nightcrawler can go much further distances. And there's a thing with after a certain amount of times, like he has to take a little more time to rest between teleports.
Mm-hmm.
Like he can do a series of them.
Yeah, but Solo doesn't, right?
Well, no, Solo can, but he'll need more time to recover to be able to teleport again. So there's some limitation to it. But I want to see Judge Dredd, the new one, but with Solo.
Okay.
Where he's just in a building taking out terrorists, and like that's the first 30 minutes of the movie, maybe.
Okay.
20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, just a straight up like
just he's going through, popping, appearing, killing people, doing his deal.
Never letting up. That's how good that Dredd was, That was pretty bitchin'.
But that would be, like I said, just maybe 20, 25 minutes, something like that, I think, of the movie. So you kind of see like what he did. And I think at one time he was on the wrong side at one time. Like not terribly, but you know what I mean? But I feel like he crossed some lines, because he didn't care about killing anybody, kind of like the Punisher.
Yeah, he was more
I just don't think he had the same vengeance style, like he didn't have the same motivation.
Right.
But I always thought he was such a cool character. I'm like, this guy's like, he's like the ultimate soldier to me. You know what I mean? Like, if you can just pop in and, like, if you're already a badass,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And
you kind of give that silent, like,
yeah. Like, I just pop up behind you, cut your neck, disappear.
And then you're gone. Yeah.
Like a ghost. And I've seen him tied in, like, in some of the more recent comics, like, because I think he was with Taskmaster for a while. I don't remember what that run was. But anyways, but I think there was some more recent stuff where he was just kind of, again, just really in the background, not a major player.
Yeah.
He was part of the Six Pack. That's what, for a while.
Yeah, he said he joined forces with Spider-Man against the agents of the Taskmaster in the Red Skull. So he was kind of like a good Taskmaster. Maybe.
Well, kind of.
He didn't mimic.
He didn't have the power that Taskmaster had. He had his own power. But I remember he left that group because there was some bullshit. Anyways,
was he in like Spider-Man comics first?
Yes.
Okay,
that's what I remember him from, like originally.
Okay. When did he first appear?
Oh, it had to have been 80s. My guess.
Web of Spider-Man number 19, October 1986.
Boom.
There we go. You know what? I just saw that comic the other day.
Really?
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to go get it. It's the first appearance. Be pretty cool,
Yeah, I think Captain America. He was in some Captain America. And whether that could have been Spider-Man, Captain America crossover stuff, 80s are a little bit hazy to me.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I just remember him being in a few comics, and I was like, again, what a cool fucking...
Right.
Like...
I don't think I ever...
Nightcrawler with guns? I don't know. But
I don't think I ever knew that much of him.
And again, this was like a super deep cut. This was just somebody that I liked when I was a kid, and I was like, yep, I'm going to talk about him first. But I think, again, if you do the story right, like he joins a team, he does, you know what I mean? He goes through all that. And I think that would be a good portion of the movie, of him getting to the point where he gets the nanotechnology and all that, where he can teleport.
Right.
And then probably like the last half of the movie or something. Kind of like First Avenger was. Captain America.
Oh, I got you.
You know what I mean?
More like Rocketeer style?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of learning, but not like...
Learning more about the character, you know?
Yeah. Because, I mean, they were both directed by Joe Johnston, which the Rocketeer had that kind of like, whoops, I fell into a superhero trap.
Right.
And then Captain America had that very, very good feel from that movie and kind of translated it in something like this, but like set in like, like Iran-Contra or something like that. You know what I mean? That would be crazy. Because around that time, he's more of, if you put him in that situation, and maybe even he worked with Frank Castle in Vietnam.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tie it in if you wanted to. Which, I mean, I don't think Frank Castle's in Vietnam anymore. Like, they just keep moving the mark. They're like, oh, now he was in Afghanistan. You know what I mean? Before he was in the Gulf War.
Operation
Like, they just kept moving it up. That's the moving line. Because if he was in Vietnam, he'd be 70.
Right. Yeah, I think that would be something that I would look at characters that way too, that where they originally came into the scene and just build their world then.
Yeah, that would be super cool.
And leave it there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the comic books, the regular continuity can keep whatever. You know what I mean? But you do like Punisher 1984. You know what I mean?
Right. But no high boots.
Yeah. It was Solo, 1980.
Right.
But it's in those eras to where they came through and they still have that. You'd almost have to write like you still lived in the 80s or the 70s or the 60s,
right. At the time of what it was, yeah.
Be super cool.
Before there was ever really any comic book shows or anything like that, I always thought it would be cool to do a Punisher show where like there's a current storyline going on.
Right.
The rest of it's filmed in like not quite a black and white, but just a very vintage stock.
Okay.
And takes place during Vietnam.
Okay.
And that would be the Punisher show.
Like,
where there's an ongoing story that's happening in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an ongoing story that's going on currently. And sometimes the things that are going on in the background obviously have stuff to do with the stuff that's happening now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or has some applicable, like, connection in his mind.
Yeah.
And then Green Arrow came out. And that was very much him right now and remembering being on the island.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, that fucking idea is out the, you know?
Yeah.
And this was like 10 years before that when I thought of this.
Yeah.
And then the Punisher came out, and that was cool. So, yeah, now I'm fucked.
Yeah, because Thomas Jane's Punisher was Desert Storm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the 1 week war. Which
that movie.
Yeah, I liked it, and I liked the short. You know,
The short was the best thing. The Thomas Jane and the Punisher.
That was fucking awesome.
Was it the laundry or?
Yeah, I was like, I was like doing laundry with the Punisher,
Which is still better than doing laundry with Chris O'Donnell's Robin from Batman Forever.
Yes.
I can flip around those clothes all over the place. Why is
Wrapping
this a
them up.
scene?
Squish. Look at me, my moves.
Oh, Schumacher.
Joel Schumacher.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I think that's a great character that I want to kind of get more into.
Yeah, something different.
Kind of check it out. Yeah. No, I think that would be
cool.
really cool. Web of Spider-Man had some good characters in it. Like, one of the very first villains that I remember seeing was Sin Eater.
Yeah.
Which on the cover of that Web of Spider-Man, you know, he's got the light on him, but yet he's got like the beachhead mask on and the double barrel shotgun.
We weren't going to talk about him at all on the villains episode, so
that's crazy. But yeah, no. I just remember that part of it.
No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There was a really good, and isn't that where Vermin showed up originally?
Yep.
Yeah.
In the whole, it was before Kraven's Last Hunt.
Yeah.
But he was in
Kraven's Last Hunt went to Vermin was.
Yeah.
And that went through all the titles, right?
Yeah, Kraven started in Web and ended in Web. And went 2 in Web, and then like 2 in Amazing, 2 in Spectacular. Something like that. Yeah, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
Fucking
It's 5 or 6 comics total.
Yeah. I just read them.
Yeah.
Not too long ago. What else?
So yeah, that's my first one. What you got, brother?
So my number 4, which is not going to be too big of a secret, is Martian Manhunter. I
made my honorable mention list because I think that he's worthy.
He's more powerful than pretty much anybody, but yeah, he's a man at a time, but a Martian at a time.
Right.
So he's lived 2 separate lives.
Well, Superman's actually said that he's the most powerful being on the planet.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So if Superman says, "Hey, this guy's more powerful than everybody else," probably I'll listen.
Yeah. I'll just watch out for this dude because he could do everything that I can do, but better.
Yeah, and more.
Yeah, exactly. He can fly too.
Oh, and he knows what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Shit. No,
there's no getting away from him. Oh, yes, there is. It's a match.
No,
I'm gonna cry about it.
I've got to blow out all the candles in here. No candles. When Martian Manhunter's
somehow Firefly is the best villain ever.
Well, he is literally, he's been around since the beginning.
Yeah.
Almost. He 100% like, it's the man at a time thing, but and it's the duality that he has to live, and
it's the displaced home thing too.
Right.
This is now
he's the last.
This is the planet I'm going to protect because this is where I live now, and I'm the last of my kind.
Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I'm green.
Yeah, and I look weird.
And he can shapeshift, and that's what would be so cool, dude.
Yeah.
You know how cool that would look on the big screen? Like him turning into all the different things he's turning. Like, I think specifically, it was one of the animated movies where he turned into a dragon on the Great Wall of China.
Oh shit!
And I was like, dude, you know?
Well, in the Mandrake series from like 88 to like 93. No, it was like 80 something issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they went back to Mars.
Okay.
And I think they were even talking about having Swamp Thing come over there and maybe help regrow it. But they told the story of his brother, that his brother was born without telekinetic powers.
Right.
And so he wasn't like, he was the only one that was different.
Right.
And he developed the deal to where it made everybody think they were on fire and actually set themselves on fire.
Right.
So you have that part of it too.
I remember that storyline.
And the thing about that whole deal too is he was like, they really explored him being like a private detective in one of them, but yet at the same time he's a fucking cat in China or some shit like that. Right. And like he's everywhere, but yet he has these emotional connections with all these different people.
Right. And
I think with the exploration of that, but I really think that run was really good. The newer one, it only went 12 issues. And it just didn't take off.
I don't know that I read that.
Yeah. It was part of the New 52, I think too.
Yeah. I probably intentionally skipped that.
Yeah. He's one of those characters where everybody knows him.
Oh yeah.
And he's been on the JLA, he's been everywhere.
So how would you make it an origin story first? Or that just be in the background a little bit, like the pearls flying?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, it would be more, I think the way I would picture it, it would be him just kind of living those different lives. At the same time where he can, not necessarily origin it, but like show different parts of his life on Earth.
Okay.
And then different parts of his life on Mars before he got there with his kid and his wife and everything like that. To where you can see the similarities between his life on Earth and there.
Okay.
And then how he became, because he was a manhunter on Mars, so he was already like a cop.
Yeah.
So, and then he came down and he naturally became a cop.
As you do. That's what he knows.
Exactly. And then kind of have him work with different things like Spectre and other characters, just in a weird way.
Yeah.
But yet he would be the de facto kind of like leader of all of that shit. Almost kind of like a Havoc deal, but more involved in the current stuff. I wouldn't bring it with Manhunter. I wouldn't be bringing in Superman every other issue or Batman here and there.
Sure.
It would be more like he's fucking taking some weird shit on.
Right.
And I don't remember how much magic really affected him that much, but I think I would have a lot more of the magic aspect in his too.
Okay.
To kind of again take him out of
his
normal
comfort zone.
Yeah. So he's dealing
so
with
he's
magic
not like
and
Superman where like magic is like one of his weaknesses,
Yeah.
But I could see that being something different for him to deal with.
Yeah.
So that I feel like that's great. That'd be a great foil. Like, I don't know who that would be.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, we did those stories to where we paired, and I paired him and Swamp Thing together.
Yeah.
But I think that he could venture out into space and be part of some, intergalactic space force, not the Green Lantern Corps or anything like that. But yeah, he could work with them. He could start something out there, because he is the last. He's not necessarily, he's okay with Earth being the way it is.
But is he the last? Because isn't Magan his niece?
Yeah, and then his brother.
Yeah.
But I think he did kill his brother. But I really enjoyed his stories, and
yeah, absolutely.
It was kind of a crazy, just kind of jump, just like that I picked him, and I was like, I'm going to try a couple of episodes or books, and then was like, damn, he's got a really cool fucking story, and I would love to be able to sit down and just like get into the mythos of him.
Nice.
And get into a really long arc of a whole bunch of different things and just kind of make it more where he's trying to be human, but he isn't. You know?
Right.
I mean, he's around nothing but humans. So he's got to go find his own kind of Martian, you know. I'm still a Martian. That's me, man. I'm still a fucking Martian. And you can't take that out of my soul. So I'm going to go fucking search space.
Yeah.
You know, get in fights with Brainiac and, you know, the
all
coons.
the cosmic bads.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be fucking cool, you know, but still have that whenever he's back on Earth, he's still a cat somewhere. Or he's like a fucking Frisbee. I don't know. Yeah. He's something, you know?
Right.
He's like a constant, like a Spectre, I think, you know? Spectre's constant. And I'm not going to put Spectre on my list because, of course, he's like one of my favorites.
Yeah, Spectre is on my list, but not... I kept him intentionally out of my top ones because I thought you would do him.
No, I left him off because I was like, you know what? That's a given. For me.
Yeah. I think Spectre would be cool if you did it like a horror sort of... I would want it to be very graphic. Like the way Spectre killed people back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, before he was like just the cosmic entity people looked at and talked to.
Yeah.
You know, but like back in the day, like kind of, do you remember the animated short they made?
Oh my God.
Where it was kind of a roadhouse?
That's like my favorite fucking one.
But I could see him doing something in that style.
Kind of, yeah. It was noir almost.
Yeah,
It was noir, but yeah, it still had the visceral like blood and shit like that, you know, like because he was impersonating, he was getting into all the fucking weird special effects things in that.
Right.
But yet the weird part about him is he is anchored to the soul of Corrigan. You know what I mean? And Corrigan's like, he wrestles with it.
Right.
You know, of course he would, but and then
isn't there a new person now?
Probably.
I think so.
There's like,
or maybe that's Fate.
Well, yeah, there's been,
definitely a new Fate.
Yeah, there's been like,
but I know
Corrigan was the best Spectre.
Yeah. And then Hal Jordan was Spectre for a while.
Jordan was Spectre, and Jordan was Spectre in Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
And then there was, I know it was
Corrigan's the same. No, I think there was another cop.
Well, Corrigan was the red-haired,
yeah,
cop that got buried in the
but I think
freaking
there was
barrel.
A cop after Hal Jordan.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
I think.
Well, they did the Hal Jordan Spectre run.
Right.
And I never read that one all the way through. I read the first two ones all the way through. I'm pretty sure.
I would want to do the Jim Corrigan stuff anyway.
Yeah. And start back in the day.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
That's another one of those where it's whatever you're doing, whether it's just a story, a comic story, a movie, whatever it is, make it set back in the 60s.
His would
70s,
be in the his would
50s.
Start in the 30s or
right.
something.
Well, and that would be a cool way to do it too, is show that progression through time, just him taking out different people through time in different ways.
Or the same person in different eras. Or the same kind of thing.
Just bad people.
Yeah. I think it would be pretty bitchin'.
I agree.
In that run that the Spectre did, where they had the AIDS killer, the dude that was killing all the girls that he was trying to find that had it was gruesome.
Yeah.
They had fucking
That's what I would want.
Yeah.
100%. I want that gruesome. I want that. This is not going to be a kid's. This is like going to see the Joker.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
It would make you sit there and go, God damn, that dude's badass.
Happening?
Yeah. Martian Manhunter and the Spectre, again, for me, is kind of like, there you go. It's a given.
Yeah. So that's why I said, I was like, I figured we were going to talk about that.
It's going to be there.
So I don't know if this is really a top 5. This is me just throwing out some stuff, I guess.
Well, what's your next one, too?
My next one, moving from Marvel to DC, is Jason Blood and Etrigan.
Yeah, Etrigan made my honorable mention list because I love the character.
Yeah.
And I just don't think anybody's really got a good grasp on it.
I agree. And I think that for those of you that don't know, Etrigan is a demon that's bound to Jason Blood by Merlin. Back
His
in the
brother.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, Merlin is a brother of Etrigan.
Etrigan, yeah. He's half brother or something.
Yeah, it's a weird
Anyways,
deal.
whatever.
Yeah.
But he binds them together, which makes Jason Blood immortal.
Yes.
Right?
So he's been around for a long time.
And occasionally the demon comes out and he breathes fire and he's a demon. He looks like a demon.
And he's a rhyming demon.
Well, yes. Not originally, not in the first.
And he really there's a lot of times that he doesn't rhyme.
Right. Depending on what you're reading.
Right.
But for I don't mind the rhyming so much. It's cool as long as it's done right, and written well.
Yeah.
But I would want to start this like modern day.
Yes.
And we're following Jason Blood through his life. He's a demonologist. But in the story, he had to go to Merlin's crypt. He was like summoned there. And when he read something, that's what caused Etrigan to come back out. So I would want this to be like he doesn't remember any of this. We don't know an origin, right?
Right.
But he reads something, and I don't think I'd have him summoned somewhere necessarily, as I would like a book that he just gets. Maybe he has it, whatever.
Yeah, because he's a demonologist and everything.
You can MCU it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though it's DC.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, holy shit, he was there the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
And then throughout that story, we do get the backstory of how it happened, after a good portion of this, or like fed throughout,
Right.
Starting after a certain amount of time after we've watched Jason Blood and he gets this and we see the first transformation.
But then you could get the whole backstory of Etrigan too.
Right, 100%.
Yeah.
And then so you get the backstory of both and why they are really together, but not at first. It's like a big fight, kind of not cheesy like Venom, but kind of that style, like where they're fighting kind of for dominance a little bit because it's the first time they've been back together.
Yeah, for like 100 years or something. Like that, or
like so much
years.
that Jason Blood didn't remember any of it.
Right.
We get to see what happens when Jason Blood is not on this plane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's really interesting.
Yeah, because, where does he go?
Hell.
See? He's in hell, and then Etrigan's like, later, dude.
Yeah. So, but I would want to make it almost horror.
Yeah, it would have to be another one of those.
Horror.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like an avenging kind of horror. He's going to have to go fuck some people up and breathe some fire on people. He's really the Ghost Rider of DC without the motorcycle.
Right. Yeah, because he can...
And the immortality, I guess.
Yeah. He's huge, too.
Yeah.
He's a big, imposing character.
Absolutely.
But yet, you put him... Throughout the years, I mean, he was part of the Justice League Dark, the original lineup. He was part of so many different things. He could be bad 100%, but yet it's
Jason Blood that tries to put him in motion to help.
Yes. Instead of just going out and wreaking havoc.
Right. He puts him in the right direction.
Right.
And makes deals with him throughout things,
Yeah.
And that would be the cool part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to where you humanize him a little bit and he gets to see the other side and then becomes a good person. Or a good demon. Somewhat.
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah. But when he's in hell, he just fucking goes crazy.
Yeah, he's fucking demon.
He's like, I'm in fucking hell. I'll kill my dad. There was a little 4-issue miniseries that was really good that he was in hell and he did like have to take on his father.
Oh.
Yeah, with Merlin.
His father's Belial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Looks just like
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh, cool.
Resemblance.
Who's your mom?
My dad.
You don't look like Morgana.
But yeah, that was my number 4 or whatever.
That is a good one. Like I said, I had him on my list because I've been reading a lot about.
Like on your top 5?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it was on my honorable mention.
Nice.
Yeah. Number 3 is going to be easy for me. It's still DC.
Okay.
Because I had Havoc, Marvel, Martian Manhunter, DC, and number 3 for me is going to be Lobo.
Okay.
Only in the way that he has got this tremendously rich history, and other appearances.
Yeah.
His books are always wacky, crazy, like fucking, I'm going to get kicked out of heaven 50 times because I'm going to play, the harp like a guitar, over the top. And I know that they, in the New 52, they tried to kind of tone it down a little bit so it wasn't so fucking cheesy. But I think, again, if you because Lobo's just like, do whatever the fuck he wants to, know? So there's no humanity, there's no nothing.
It's mostly bounty hunting.
Yeah. But since he is the last, just like Martian Manhunter, just like Superman.
They're all the last.
Everybody's the last. It would be cool to see some. What would be really cool is to see like a Mobius looking place.
Okay.
Like he's in space.
Okay.
But it's a Mobius looking kind of city, just very compact. There's just nothing but industrial everything, but he's in these situations.
Okay.
It almost be kind of like his ongoing series, his first one that came out in like 90 or something like that. I don't know, 91, something.
90 when everything was edgy.
Yeah. And he wasn't trying to take down God.
Right.
Because they had the contract on God. Which is weird.
I think they started out with him finding his teacher, right? His third grade teacher.
Yeah, that was the first series. Yeah. He had to take her back. He eventually cut off her legs.
He was not the last Sarzinian.
No. And what's crazy too is like in the beginning, if he bled and it fell on the ground, that would spawn another Lobo. Yeah.
Really?
And real docs.
Like in what comics is this? Legion?
Yeah. Omega Man, then Legion.
Yeah.
And Viral Docs use that to take over like some city, the Citadel,
like
or something.
Army
like
of Lobos?
Exactly. But then built into Lobo himself that he couldn't do it. So he took that away from him, right?
Okay.
But only one of them survived. And he actually, the bad Lobo, I'm good Lobo, I'm bad Lobo. But the other Lobo came back in his own ongoing series, and they did fight. But they were exactly the same, but the older one still had the power to regenerate if he bled. So it's fucking weird, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I see
I don't want any part of that in whatever you're going to make.
Right. I do see the absurdity of it, which nobody would ever do the absurdity of a Lobo in movie form. There's just no fucking way.
Unless you made an awesome space opera.
Yeah.
A la like Ice Pirates.
Yeah, there you go. See, and there you go. That could be something because he always works with people, but then he ends up fucking them over.
Right.
So
he just does what Lobo does.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe kind of take a little bit of that out and still make him fucking super badass. Yeah. Like unstoppable, fighting Superman type shit. And always getting into these weird spots to where everybody's like, whatever, he's not going to live past that one. But he always does. Yeah. He might regenerate from a fucking finger and shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he still does. But in that really almost kind of like heavy metal world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And just very, very weird locales. Maybe they already did it, but I think he's really kind of underused. He's not going to come to Earth and be like, hey, I'm going to help people.
Right.
Fuck no. He's going to be in some weird planet every time,
Right.
And it's going to be something crazy, but it doesn't have to be that crazy. Maybe if you did it to where he actually has to like tone himself down to do something. Because even in Crushing Lobo, he's like fucking... He because they're the only two left, his daughter, right? So he's DNA locked to the actual prison that he's in. But guess who else has got the DNA? So he tricks his daughter to come in there, and guess what? They're like, oh, sorry. And he gets away, and she's in jail.
I think I read that, actually. Yeah.
And it takes a long time for her to get out, and she's like, God damn it. He used me again. So I that's why I like the Crushing Lobo series, because it is, I don't know, it's different. It's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's very underused.
I agree with that. But if I were going to do anything, I would just make a live action Lobo paramilitary Christmas special.
They did
a live action one.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, remember Latimer?
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Remember Latimer from the program?
Yes.
He was Lobo in the Lobo paramilitary Christmas special, and they did it live action
For $1.50 or
something like that.
That's the problem.
He looked great. Santa Claus looked fucking great too. I did watch it. It was like a 20-minute deal.
Okay.
I don't really remember that much. It's on YouTube, and they had the rabbit.
Nice.
They had fucking everything, but they really didn't get into the whole. I didn't watch. I don't remember it.
Right. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. It's on YouTube though. You can look for it.
So Lobo, yeah, that's a good call. I like it.
Who's your number 3?
My number 3, Martha. So this is going to be a weird answer.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because when I say the first part of the name, you're going to be like, motherfucker. But it's Batman Beyond.
I think that's great.
Well, obviously there's 1 bazillion Batman things out there and everybody loves Batman, but I love this storyline. And I think we have actors now that could play the part of an older Batman. You know what I mean? And Terry McGinnis' story is good.
Yeah.
It's a whole different story, but it's the same in some aspects. And Bruce Wayne's character has great arcs within that story. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? As well. So I think between those two and just the creating Neo Gotham.
Right.
Dude.
Yeah, you could.
And then in my head, I'm always thinking like like how you would transition this to film.
Yeah.
You know? But you could do a comic as well. That's fine.
Oh, yeah.
They just haven't done one of those for real in a long time. But I would think as a film, you could just nail it. Dude, Neo Gotham would look so cool.
Well,
you know what it'd be? It'd be Sway. Wasn't that what they said in that?
I don't remember.
Sway?
I don't remember. It might have been. Yeah. Yeah. The show was awesome.
Yeah, it was absolutely.
It was great.
Really good.
And I love the way that the Batman in that one is like fucking crazy. You know,
yeah,
I mean,
he's got the suit.
Yeah,
and
everything that the Bruce Wayne learned as Batman, put it into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the Batman Beyond comic, I think that might be where I break the run because I don't remember how many comics there were. There were still some pretty current ones. You know what I mean? And because I remember he went and fought Damian Wayne at one point, which was a fairly cool story. You know?
Huh.
But Damian Wayne was like the head of the League of Shadows.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's much older.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would be like, what, 30?
Something, yeah. It would, but I just think there's a whole, I mean, you don't have to go that deep into it. You could just make it the first story arc from the cartoon almost, you know what I mean?
Oh, shit, yeah. Or even the...
Change that a little bit, you know.
The Robin one, too.
Yeah.
What was the movie?
The Joker.
Yeah. It had Mark Hamill as the Joker.
Yeah.
And
but it was the Joker or something, right?
Yeah, and the Joker was inside of
Tim Drake.
Tim Drake's mind.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, he had 4 volumes.
Yeah, I think like I said, I think I broke the rules as far as the run there, but I just don't think.
Not really.
With this, I was thinking more of film. You know what I mean?
Well, he had altogether, maybe 100.
Okay.
Because volume 1 was 99, volume 2 was 99, 2001.
Okay.
I think that was the longest run. Then you had 2013 through 2015, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. So they were like year.
Okay.
1 year, 2 year. Volume 6, 2016 to 2000. Or 2020.
Okay.
I was like, holy shit, I went backwards.
Yeah, I think those were the ones that I read with where he fights Damian. And that movie was Batman Beyond Return of the Joker.
Yes.
Easiest name ever.
Yeah. It was a pretty good story.
Yeah, it was. I don't think I'd go that direction with it to start off. But I do like, there were characters that were still in the show that were tied in, you know. And of course, he had his dog.
Yeah. He had the big old mutt. So it's almost like Dark Knight Returns, but
not, because I think that's the difference. He's like Batman with no baggage.
yeah.
You know, I mean, he has his own baggage, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but it's not quite Batman broody style.
Yeah. He still was an asshole
Yeah.
at first, and then the very first episode didn't have him like old, like right before he hung up the suit, and he had like one last like little battle that they showed, and he was still really big, built
Yeah,
Batman, but he was fucking old as shit.
Yes.
So he had to put the suit away.
Yep.
He's like, I gotta fight a Mazo again.
But I think that would be a cool one. It'd be something different to see on whether television, big screen, whatever. I will shout out another Batman character that I would like to see more of. And I know we're getting a Batgirl movie, HBO Max, something. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I think it's a movie. I want to see Oracle. That version of Barbara Gordon.
Okay.
I really like her, and I really like Cassandra Kane.
Okay.
That Batgirl.
Okay.
Because her backstory is awesome. So that's, again, another character that made my honorable mention actually was Cassandra Kane.
Right.
Batgirl. Because I think you could build a whole story. Like, she was raised to not only just raised, so Lady Shiva's her mom. She was raised to be the perfect warrior, like so much so that like she cut her vocal cords so that she couldn't talk, and she had to. She was a better warrior because of it. She could read people's body language better.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Damn.
Yeah, and then her dad ends up being this big assassin.
Yeah, isn't that version of Batgirl like? Doesn't she have it like sewn up or something like that?
She does.
Yes.
Like a lot of her costume kind of looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But she's a really cool character. Her dad even, like the whole story of her background's pretty badass. So you could do that. But I'll take whatever Batgirl they're going to give me because I like most of them.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's a big sandbox.
Yeah.
You know,
So
and each one of those characters are compelling.
I only mentioned the honorable mentions because I was kind of in the Bat family, and I didn't want to come back to the Bat family later and be like, that guy just talks about Batman.
You like nothing but Batman. No, that's a good choice. Batman Beyond is, I don't know. Again, a really good place to play.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you create a whole new world. Like, the villains aren't the same old villains, and that's why I wouldn't do the Joker story.
Right.
I would want to keep it with the villains that they had, that he has as his own villains.
Wouldn't you have Henry Rollins in it?
Usually.
I would.
Absolutely. And Glenn Danzig.
Yes. No, Rollins was actually a voice on the show.
No,
it was just so cool. That's a great pick. I'll take over my number 2.
Ooh, number 2.
This character has been misused for every iteration.
Ooh.
I think every time. It's just, he is a wonderful character altogether. Huge, but just never fleshed out the right way.
Okay.
And it's weird to say that because he doesn't have that much flesh. It's Deathlock.
Oh, nice.
Deathlock he is just a very intriguing character because he is always fighting with his mind, but yet he's super badass. He's dead.
Right.
Rotting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Weird. But yet majorly badass. I mean, he can keep up with anybody. His whole, he was like a computer programmer or something like that. He's like the cyborg of Marvel.
Yeah, to some degree.
Yeah. And the computer has taken him through time and shit like that.
Yeah.
The one story that he had with Captain America. Really good one. But he just, nobody I've really seen. I've always loved to read his comics, and I've always loved to go through the ones that really, like the early 90s stuff, know. But it just never was great, he was always whining to the computer most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, no, Deathlock needs to be kind of, pissed off, but yet not really just trying to take out the guy that made him this way.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
He needs to be a hero, and he could be.
Yeah.
And I think he could be a very good one, like almost kind of how Machine Man has turned out.
Right.
In a way.
Okay.
But he could be like more...
Not quite like Machine Man.
No. That's the only thing I can mix. I would really say, too, he could be almost kind of like a Punisher character, like a hero
That's
for
what
hire.
I was going to say, yeah.
He's a guerrilla fighter. They can send him in.
Anti-hero.
Yeah, but he's not necessarily like a working for the CIA and shit like that, but
right.
kind of, I don't
Some
know.
Black Ops group.
Yeah, he's a merc.
Black
what I mean?
site.
Yeah. Oh, that would be weird if Deathlock was on a team
Ooh.
full of mercs. Like Deathlock and Solo.
Ooh, there you go.
Not like Weapon X style shit, you know what I mean?
No.
It would have to be something good. Again, I just don't think that he's had the right hands.
I don't disagree with you, and I think there's a lot of potential within that character to tell a really, really compelling story. I would not be the guy to handle that story myself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I see the potential, but I feel like Mel Brooks saying, you should make this.
Yeah. I can't make the Elephant Man. David, you make it.
Exactly.
It's been so long since I've read some Deathlock too that I'm really behind. But he was one of my favorite characters back in the day.
Nice.
Because he was one of those B-listers that just look cool.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh, he's got a backpack. Silver.
Cool backpack guy.
He's got like metal legs. And like half a real face and like a target eyeball. And he's always like, shut up, Pooter. They always abbreviated computer.
Right.
And be like, leave me alone, Pooter. What?
What did you just say to me, sir?
Harry Pooter? Are you a whisker biscuit? That was horrible.
House of Whisker Biscuit gets 400 points.
Whisker biscuit. Yeah, that's all I'm really going to leave with Deathlock. There's not much else. He just needs somebody to come in there and just revamp it.
Yeah.
Not redo the character like people try to do. Like they tried to do with Lobo.
Yeah.
But just make him more... I don't know. He's almost like a Spawn kind of a character.
Yeah, for sure.
In that weird way, like they're like, you're this, and you're, I don't want to be that.
I don't wanna.
I don't wanna.
Well, I think that's a good pick. I think, like I said, there's a ton of potential with that character. But I think somebody would have to take that character kind of sideways to what we've seen before.
Yes.
In just a whole different direction.
I mean, he's been there forever. First appeared in Astonishing Tales 1974.
That seems like a long time ago.
Yes. That's still when comics were 25 cents.
Dang.
Damn. Okay, you're up.
Well, sticking with... You can kind of see where my love goes with certain things. My next character kind of fits in with I believe it was my first character. And that's Zatanna. And I think that she has a cool storyline. But remember we talked earlier, because I would want to do something with her father, and I may even take the approach from where he became Dr. Fate. And she lost her father and could only see him like once a year in a magical grove thing.
Oh, okay.
That was a cool storyline. I think that was from Young Justice. It may have came from the comics. But her dad, obviously, he was a magician too, Zatanna. He was like the first one.
Yep.
But I think what would be cool, and this is where we were talking earlier about, like, there's certain characters where I want them to be the character, right? But there's other characters that have to be involved.
Right.
And for this one, I would definitely want to see Constantine at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He was more later in her whole deal, right?
Correct. And it wouldn't have to be in the, like, if you were doing a movie or a run of comics, it doesn't have to be in the first one. You know what I mean? But eventually, those connections to the dark universe, because if you haven't gathered, I'm making Justice League dark eventually.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I think that, I just think, like, even like cinematically, let's take it there for a minute. Like her saying her spells backwards and all that, you know what I mean? And
I love reading those.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
It's like figuring out, you're like, oh, shit. You know, it's like if you're a telemarketer, please don't ever call her. What? I know that means something. Which is pretty awesome. I mean, she's a pretty big badass too.
She's uber powerful, dude. And I think that's what would be cool. And it's, I mean, it would just be total magic. Like, I wouldn't have her teaming up with, like, Batman, which is where I think I originally remember her from, is from a Batman comic. Like, the first time I ever saw her.
Okay.
And I don't even care if she wears, like, the magician's outfit the way that she does in the comics. Like, she doesn't have to wear fishnets. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, the bikini with fishnets and a fucking top hat and shit.
I want her to have the top hat because that's cool.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that it would be a cool story, like, of have her, you know, go through her own growth, you know, into battling one of the myriad of magical people or magical bad folks that are out there. You know what I mean? In her first story arc, and you kind of get that. And then I love that, like I said, that storyline where she loses her father and he offers to become Fate in her place, actually.
Okay.
And because, what was the original guy's name?
Dr. Fate. Oh my God, I forgot.
Anyways, but he's like dying.
Dr. Don Blake? No, I'm
you
just
know
kidding.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's Thor, man. But it would be a purely magic show. So what I think about this, or show, movie, comic, is it really fits in with what, if you wrote it the right way, it would be very compelling to people who do not read comics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't even almost pitch it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The DC people, like people who read comics, will know.
Yeah. See,
you know?
And I think a lot of these, I think they need to play to their audience more.
Yeah.
You know, you play to your audience to where they've grown up with you. Mm-hmm. Like everybody, you know, that I know so many people that grew up with comics, but I still kind of feel like there's only a very few amount of them that are like, oh shit, right. I still fucking read that. And to see something like that straight out of the gate, that's like how I would do like a Martian Manhunter too. You know, it's more like it's right there.
Right.
You don't really dig into the origin too much.
Agreed.
It's a pure comic book.
It's something that happens in the background.
Yes.
You know? That's the way I feel.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be flashbacks. It could be through exposition, conversation, things so that you infer what's happened. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm going to show you the cool shit. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's getting there.
But, yeah, it'd be cool if there was ever a way for us to get a Justice League proper, like movie that could expand into where the Justice League is now. Because there's a really cool story where it was when, I don't remember what the run or whatever it was. Batman quit the Justice League because he found out that they were having Zatanna mind wipe criminals.
Oh, so he was like, nah.
No, that ain't how it
goes against my code.
Right. And that was a cool deal, you know. But yeah, so I think you could have fun with her.
I thought about Zatanna too. Just in the way that she's been, I think, more in the she's been more on the surface in the last, like, let's just say 10 years.
Sure.
She's really been more of a bigger character, because before that it was like, she had her own ongoing, but nothing really too big.
I think the most prominent she's been is in the animated movies.
Yes.
That's about it, really.
Yeah.
Everything else, she's been in teen books that I remember, I don't remember her being in anything else. Other than, like I said, I think that I originally read something about her in Batman.
Oh.
Like back in the day. That was like my first foray. So yeah, I guess that's my number 2, even though I didn't number them, and that's really not the one I'm the most passionate about.
Oh. Yeah. Know what you mean.
Like, I keep thinking now, I'm like, I want to do a Cassandra Kane movie.
Yeah.
That was like my honorable mention. That's the one I'm thinking about the most.
It's
right
like,
now.
I should do that. I guess we're to my number 1.
We are.
Before I hit my number 1, I'll give you my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Just to kind of open that up. Of course, I'm a big fan of Dead Man. I think Dead Man would be an awesome ongoing again.
Okay.
Underutilized, but yet not very powerful. They're really kind of just focus on, and a lot of his series, like, just weird aspects of it. Nothing really concrete.
He's another character that I mostly remember from other people's comics.
Right.
His
own comics aren't that bad.
Yeah, I've never read one.
There's a good series where he actually falls in love with another ghost.
Okay.
And it's like a 2 or 3 issue series or something like that. Very, very good.
Okay.
It's probably one of the best Dead Man stories I can remember reading. He did have his own ongoing in New 52, but of course, 1 year later, they were like, later.
That's over.
Yeah, all of his other stuff that he's been in has been like short-lived.
Right.
4-issue series here, 4-issue series there, a lot like Lobo.
Right.
But again, he's an integral part in a lot of things. Justice League Dark, yeah, he was a major part of that on that first iteration that they had,
Right.
The second iteration with Constantine. But he just never. It's like he's like almost like Plastic Man,
Right.
He's almost kind of like a joke.
Right.
But he really isn't.
No.
I think that, with what he could do, and that's why that one series where he kind of fell in love was such a good series, because that was a good, like, it was unusual. It was a ghost love story.
Right.
Does it make sense?
Like the movie Ghost.
Yeah, like Ghost.
Except it was a ghost and a live person. Mixed marriages.
That's what happens.
Yeah, I think, again, like, my head always goes to the visual, like movie thoughts, is he would be a cool character if the story, this is, again, going back to your caveat, if the story was done in a different direction than what we've seen in the past.
Right.
Like, of him just being an ancillary character, even though sometimes that's he's like a main linchpin in getting things done and getting whatever accomplished they need to get accomplished.
Right.
He's seldom the focus,
Yeah.
So if you did it right, I don't know enough about Dead Man, to be honest with you. I know he was an acrobat, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not looking at anything. I'm just trying to remember he was an acrobat who got killed while he was doing some stunts by somebody.
Basically, yeah. He was an arrogant asshole.
Yeah.
And he got shot in mid-tumble in the air. And he woke up, or became his spirit side. But then he found out that he was the avatar for, like, Ramakrishna.
Right.
And which is weird to begin with.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It's
Boston
just,
brand, right?
Yeah, Boston brand. And it's just weird. Like, I don't know. It's fucking weird. The Hindu part of it inside this. And I remember, how it all came to be. And he's just like, what the why? The whole time, it was like, I don't get this.
Kind of like Mark Spectre.
Yes. Like, what is going on? And then he figures out how he can get into people and take them over. And then he's always going after the gangsters in the very first one. I guess the one that came out in like the early 80s. That was the one where he was still kind of going into these people.
Well, that's what I think I would want to see, right? Like you have whatever his journey figuring out who he is, right? And then having, the whatever conversation with the God, however that works out. And then maybe him stopping crime, like some sort of something that started earlier, something we knew about earlier.
Right,
he stops
right.
that by being able to jump through bodies and control people and stuff like that,
Right. It's weird.
Yeah, that's definitely a weird character. I think that's one of the characters where I don't have anything against him, but I've never really delved into him like to look for a solo series or anything like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
Right.
just not enough interest, like kind of one trick pony to me.
Yeah.
But not in a bad way. Like,
Yeah. It would be weird to kind of come up with a story for Dead Man that would keep it going,
But I think you
really
could.
start.
I think this one, actually, I think Dead Man probably has the most potential just because there's not anything.
Yeah. There's just the Ramakrishna thing.
Right.
Which, kind of leads me to another one of my honorable mentions, and that would be Adam Strange, of course.
Adam Strange, so good, dude.
Man.
We've talked about that before,
Yeah.
you and I, whether that was on mic or not, but I agree with Adam Strange.
yeah.
He made my list as well.
Yeah. It was just kind of fucking really cool shit. I really think Ben Reilly would be an awesome alternate Spider-Man or something like that.
Well, he
somewhere
has
else.
been recently.
Hey, they bringing
In
him
the comics,
back.
Yeah.
I really like that character. Really, really, really like that character. And then Man-Thing. Man-Thing's more supernatural.
That's another that character is very much like Dead Man. Like,
Yes.
I don't know enough about Man-Thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in my head, you're either a Swamp Thing person,
Yeah, or a Man-Thing.
or like Man-Thing, the knockoff.
Yeah.
And I don't know the story behind origins for either one of them. I'm just saying Swamp Thing's cooler.
Yeah, Swamp Thing actually
Probably
talks.
because, and not only that, but I mean, let's be real. Like when Alan Moore happened
Oh, yeah.
to Swamp Thing, and
Yeah.
made it a whole different thing.
Yeah, and Man-Thing doesn't really talk a lot.
He doesn't know at
No.
all. He's like,
He's just like a super entity kind of back in the background.
Burns you with his burning touch, but he's
This
a
is my
plant.
penance burn.
I'm a plant, and fire would hurt. I don't know. Man-Thing doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I feel like the stories that I like with Man-Thing in it is he is invoked very rarely, and he comes out and he's like a force of nature.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't need any more Man-Thing. But I could see, didn't they make a sci-fi movie, Man-Thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never watched it.
Never seen it.
No,
Never
I
seen
heard bad things.
it. Another one that makes my list too is Howard the Duck. Of course. I'm not really going to get into that one.
It's understandable.
Of course, I got Etrigan, and my love for Real Docs.
Yeah.
Brainiac 3.
Yeah.
I think that if you were to do a solo series with just him, because he's just weird. Very, very weird. Almost on the spectrum kind of weird for like a very big brain. He's a savant. He doesn't have a 10th level intellect. He has like a 9th level intellect. So it's just like a step down or something like that, which is weird for him. But yet he's always trying to prove how good he is, and how calculating, but he doesn't want to be like his dad,
Right.
Brainiac 1. And he doesn't want to be like his son, Brainiac 3, which Brainiac 3 is a fucking prick. So is Brainiac 1. But he's kind of in the middle, and I think that's a really cool story to kind of go through.
Yeah.
And not like Legion style,
Right.
but more just him by himself becoming, ruthless.
Right.
Because he's ruthless but good. he sees a lot of good things for it. It's just strange. Then, of course, I have Spider-Woman.
Oh, Jessica Drew?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, I think Spider-Woman, she's been explored. She had her own cartoon, everything like that. But it would be cool to see more. And that's just because I want to learn more about it. And then my last, besides Green Arrow.
He had like 9 seasons of a TV show.
I know it's a TV show. Comic book wise, I'd like to see some more grittiness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not going to really expound on that. But then,
if I could get more stuff like Longbow Hunter.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But I found this dude. His name is Dr. Occult.
Okay.
He's been around since the 30s.
All right.
So
is this DC, Marvel?
DC.
Okay.
Very unusual character.
I knew that because I would have known who he was. Had you said Marvel.
Yeah. Just a very weird kind of premise. I think I didn't really read too much, but I'm going to. It's just another character that I think that they could bring into it.
Okay.
And add into like a Justice League Dark.
Yeah.
But my number one, my ultimate number one would be U.S. Agent.
Okay. Like a comic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Every miniseries that I ever had of U.S. Agent, I liked it. Some good people have had good series with him, but it's just like they have him as this fucking hothead type of, I'm the second Captain America. I can lift 2 tons.
Live up to, yeah. And he's actually stronger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's stronger because he got the power broker shit,
right,
which made him like super strong to where he can lift like over 1 ton or like 5, something like that.
Right.
Endurance, everything like that. They've never really necessarily got the character right, except for whenever he did take over for Cap. Whenever he was Captain America for that 6-issue, 8-issue kind of run, he learned from Taskmaster. Had Battlestar,
he had the Bucks.
Yes, and then he went crazy and killed all the Watchdog people.
Right.
And I just remember seeing that issue and just being like, whoa, that dude's killing people. But later on, of course, he was like one of the founding members of the West Coast Avengers, right?
Yes.
He was there.
So you should read you some West Coast Avengers, I guess.
I actually do. I actually did buy a West Coast Avengers comic the other day. Yes, so I was like, yes.
Score.
Yeah.
All the tiger I can handle.
But yeah, I really think that, again, if you did him like an espionage, almost kind of like not necessarily undercover. He's got a code of ethics, but it's very loose.
Yeah, it's you got to get the job done.
Yeah, and he's not
like
Peacemaker.
Cap.
Yeah, he's not Cap. He's not. Yeah, he'll do what it takes.
Right,
but yet
keep the peace no matter how many people I have to kill.
Exactly. Yeah. He's that kind of a character, which is crazy.
And obviously, the Cap Winter Soldier show.
Yeah.
We've got him in media in the MCU, and I love that character. I think that they could build that into a good story arc, and it looks like at the end of it that they may be keeping him in the universe, which would be great.
Right.
But yeah, you could do some really cool comics with him, especially if you play on the nationalism of everything. Like, keep that line that they always kind of had, where he's the darker Captain America, if you will. He's going to do those more covert, like I'll put him on a mission just about, to go kill somebody if I have to, or take out a spy or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I agree with that. That's a cool number one because, again, there's just a lot of room for story there.
Yes, big time. I really think that you explore him a little bit more. You kind of get more into who he is, why he became who he was. And yeah, I mean, the reason why he killed all the Watchdogs is because they killed his parents or some shit like that.
Right.
But still.
I don't think it was ever not justified, but it was not justified for Captain America, to kill.
No. Yeah.
Like that. So
Yeah. And I mean, he's faced some fucking pretty crazy bad guys too. Yeah, he's done a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I really think he would be a character that I would love to get behind as far as like, I don't know. Just to explore more of the espionage part of it, have him maybe be a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. somehow.
Sure.
But very underground part of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Still carry the same kind of black costume with the stars and stripes on it. And because they've tried to redo his costume so many times, but the original one's the best.
Right.
I'm sorry. The U.S. agent Captain America costume that he took, you know?
Right.
But
the black.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Black with the nice reds and everything like that.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. That was my number one.
Okay, so here's some weirdness. You ready? My number one, also a West Coast Avenger.
Oh.
And that man is Simon Williams. Wonder Man.
Hollywood,
if you will.
Hollywood.
But dude, his story is actually pretty good. Like, he inherited his dad's tech company. It was like Williamson, whatever their last name was, Industries or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't Industries, it was something like that. But at any rate, he did that. They start losing like all their money because of Stark Industries.
Oh, okay.
So his brother talks him into embezzling money to like help, and he ends up going to prison. And he blames Stark Industries, of course, for all this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then he gets out, and he goes to the power broker and gets powers so that he can get his revenge, you know, against and it was Baron Zemo actually that like headed all this, getting him powers through the power broker and all that.
Nice.
So that he could be part of like infiltrating them, becoming a member, and then turning on them at the last minute.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then at the last minute, he's like, no. Right?
Wasn't there a Wonder Man in Captain America comics when it was Iron Man, Captain America, but it wasn't the same Wonder Man as this guy?
Oh, really? This is the only Wonder Man I know of.
There was somebody that almost had the same kind of powers back.
So his powers have changed over time.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been the same character.
I think it was a different guy, and then they called him Wonder Man.
Okay.
But then this guy, the Avenger Wonder Man, came later.
Okay. I don't know.
Or he might have turned. I don't know. I remember him being in some of those older ones.
Okay.
I just gave my son, my oldest, all my graphic novels that I'm not going to read again.
Right.
I was like, here you go. Start reading up.
Right on. There may have been another Wonder Man. I kind of have a memory. No, I think he's the same dude. Because are you talking about the dude in the green?
No.
Okay. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, this was 60s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about Avengers.
Yeah.
Wonder Man.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what's crazy about it is he gets killed in the thing, and we're not going to go into the story where like they upload his brain patterns so that they can try to, you know, if something can
fix
happen,
his body.
Yeah. And that's when Ultron steals those brain patterns to make Vision. But we're not going to do any of that.
Right.
But to have him be able to come back, and then we get his brother, Eric, who becomes the Grim Reaper because he thinks the Avengers killed his brother. But then they end up battling, and that would probably be your apex battle at the, you know, end of the... And I think you'd have to do a proxy for the Avengers, you know, as it sits now.
Okay.
Because you don't have...
It'd be a second stringer Avengers.
Yeah,
like Yellow Jacket.
Or whatever's coming up next, you know. He could be a part of any of it, to be honest. And it doesn't have to be Baron Zemo. There's plenty of other villains that could be forming the Masters of Evil or whatever it was.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, who did they have? It was Zemo, Skull, the dude in the chair, the fucking... they had like a Russian. they had all these dudes. One dude that had
all
like
these national stereotypes.
Yeah, exactly. And one dude that had like a scarf that he could wrap around your head, and it was weird. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure that was all about,
But I think if you took the bones of his story, right?
Yeah.
And then because like in the real story, like he stays in the, like for years, he's like in this catatonic state or whatever. And it's not until way later that he wakes up and has his powers as they are. And they also trick him at the beginning. Like Zemo tells him that he has to take this because he gets the powers. Right? Mm-hmm. He has to take this drug all the time.
Oh.
And Zemo's the only person that has the drug. We'll come to find out none of that's true. And you also find out that while he was in that stasis, that he was just basically transforming because when he comes back, he's just pure ionic power.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's like super strong. He can fly. He can kill you, whatever. He's indestructible.
Yeah,
like he's pretty badass.
Yeah. Underutilized.
I think so.
That's crazy that we both had our number ones are West Coast Avengers. That's fucked up.
So a couple of honorable mentions for me. I just actually have one honorable mention left because I kind of fed some of them throughout our conversation here. And this is a weird one. This is like the 90th one. And that's Night Thrasher and the New Warriors.
Okay. I was hoping you weren't going to say Darkhawk.
Nope. No Chris Powell for me, sir. Though I do think, here's how you would make that interesting. You would do Darkhawk, but it's the greatest American hero.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? He's like trying to figure out what everything does. And things are goofy. And
he's falling off the roof and shit.
Got poofy afro. Blonde afro. Maybe you don't have to do that part.
Nice curly.
So Night Thrasher and the New Warriors. Night Thrasher is kind of a Batman-esque character. And his armor and stuff looks really cool. Minus the skateboard. I'd probably get rid of that because that's very 90s.
Thrasher skateboards.
He used it to fight crime.
Was it one of the big fishtail skateboards?
I don't think so. It was dark. It was black because he's stealthy.
Of course.
But the story with him is actually pretty cool. Like his parents get killed. He's rich. There's a guy named Cord, I think, that is like his guardian. Like he worked for the parents.
Yeah.
And then this Asian woman, Tai, I believe is her name, and she was like one of the like people that took care of him as well. But then you find out like she's part of like some whole sect of people. Like she's way evil, and she actually like mind controls Cord for a while. And like manipulates all these events that makes him form a team with like Speedball, Marvel Boy before he became Justice, Namorita, Firestar, Nova. So he forms this team, but like they're really like the lady actually set all this stuff in motion so that all this stuff happens. So that she can do something, I don't know, some magic thing.
Wasn't that one of the Speedball and some of those characters? Weren't they very integral in the Civil War? Like they?
Oh
like,
yeah. So that was a later iteration of the New Warriors, and it was almost like at that point they were a reality TV show. I don't think Night Thrasher was involved in that at all.
Okay.
But.
They were on TV whenever that shit happened.
Right. And that's when, like, I think it was Speedball that Nitro blew up and killed, like, a bunch of kids.
Yeah, families and shit like that. Yeah. On live TV. Yeah. So that kind of led them into being like, yo.
But that wouldn't be the New Warriors I do. I do the other ones.
Yeah.
Because I think that if you could build, like, I think it'd be cool if you could play that whole backstory where she's controlling everything to put everything in motion.
Gotcha.
Even him creating a team.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now, again, he is very Batman-esque. I'm super rich. He's black, so that's different.
Yeah.
And he's got technology and stuff.
Right.
But still, I always kind of like the design of his armor. Looked pretty cool. There's a whole story arc with his brother that he doesn't know he has too.
Huh.
And he becomes Night Thrasher for a while. I think he actually becomes the last iteration of Night Thrasher.
That's cool.
But
I just
think it would be something different. You know what I mean? And here's a bunch of ancillary characters. Like you might leave Nova out because I know they're going to do a Nova show, right? All these other characters, nobody gives a shit about.
There's so many characters.
You know
like
what
that.
I mean? Like
yeah.
Firestar. Come on.
I know.
Speedball.
Yeah.
Which I think his power would look super cool in CG, dude. Like bouncing around and doing his thing.
I could see, again, one of my favorite comic book series is Legion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think every person in that could have their own.
Sure.
Maybe not even that much, but only like a year's worth, you know, before they actually become Legion. You know, what leads them all to the gulag that they're in before they got to get out, Garen Beck and all these other people. I think that would be really cool too.
Yeah.
But I see, I'm going to have to look at that.
What's that?
That team you're talking about.
Yeah, it was definitely very 90s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is a cool story in it, though. Like, I talked about it when we did, I don't remember what, it was like an early episode that we did with some comic ideas that like hadn't been turned into anything. I think it was movies, actually, we were talking about. And I talked about Major Vance Astro.
Yes.
From the original Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
But Marvel Boy from New Warriors, is his version in the 616. He's the one that gets the telepath or the telekinetic powers, psychokinetic, whatever he calls them.
Psychosomatic.
Because he meets the regular version of Major Vance Astro from Guardians of the Galaxy, unlocks that, so he's much younger.
Oh, okay.
And his power set is much stronger. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But he kills his father, I think it is, because his father's beating his mom. And he uses his telekinetic powers and fucking kills him or fucks him up. No, I think kills him because he goes to prison. Like, there's a whole prison story. They like go and break him out, like on his way to prison. He's like, no, I'm going to prison. I did this. Ooh. So there's cool stories in there. And then later on, he becomes Justice and is on the Avengers Initiative.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think that lots of cool story in that.
Cool.
But you just un-90s it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And do you remember a character Rage?
No.
So he was part of the Avengers for a while. He was tied into this book, this New Warriors, the original New Warriors run. But he was like a 13-year-old kid or something. They got hit with some sort of biohazard, like everybody, radioactive, whatever.
Yeah.
And he got like huge and indestructible almost, and he wore like a luchador mask.
Huh.
But he was like 13. And like he got kicked off the Avengers because they found out he was 13.
Oh, like sorry, dude.
So he could be another character you could tie into this if you want to. I never thought his character was very deep, but
who is the character that had the weird that came from the one world that's so freaking crazy? And he was like a younger guy, blonde hair, but then he had like this black entity that was in him. It was like a techno virus thing that he had going on. What was that dude's name?
I don't know what we're talking about.
He was in the New Mutants.
Oh. Doug and...
yes!
Doug Locke.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Warlock. But Doug Locke is what you're talking about.
Doug Locke, yeah. Doug Locke, and then what was the planet that
he was from? Warlock was from?
Yeah. Mojo World.
Was he from Mojo?
Well, something like that. I think.
Well, I think Longshot was from Mojo World,
yeah,
and so was Shatterstar from X-Force.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that guy was or not.
Mojo World would be pretty cool.
That'd be crazy. Here it is. I'm gonna finish Here's the ultimate story of the ultimate underutilized person. I'm going to make a movie called Rick Jones.
He is the tie that binds.
That's right.
No
That's
shit.
right.
For I was gonna say that Wonder Man almost made my list.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, but I already have a West Coast. But then, yes, I really think
Make a Rick Jones story that starts from where Hulk started, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then take him through all the things like, didn't he used the quantum bands for a while and was Quasar.
Yes, and he was also Bucky.
Yeah, exactly.
He
That's what I'm
was,
saying. Like
yeah.
you go through those and what a crazy story.
No shit. and
All
now
from a guy sitting in his car playing guitar.
yeah. And now he's like a weird fucking like amalgam of weird gamma shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the last Immortal Hulk stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if he's even in the new Hulk. Who's writing the new Hulk?
Donny Cates.
Was it Cates?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just got number 1 the other day.
He's doing Thor too.
Yeah, he's doing all
That
kinds
Thor
of shit.
runs pretty good. I will throw that out there. There's some interesting stuff going on in that.
Thor's got a lot of rich history, just like Silver Surfer.
Thor probably has more just because,
Yeah.
mythology.
Yeah. And Silver Surfer's fucking rad.
Norrin rad.
Yeah, Norrin rad. I think that would be a good story to really explore, but they've done a lot of Silver Surfer stuff. He's still a kind of a B-list.
Oh, he's definitely a B-list.
Yeah.
Because really the only things he's been in was that 90s cartoon and that Rise of the Silver Surfer movie, which was one of those Fantastic Four movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you don't really count that.
Yes, you do. Jessica Alba.
Chris Evans before he was Cap America.
And the commish.
The Shield.
The fucking commish.
And then I don't know what anything the other guy was in.
Ian Gruffalo.
Yes, and it doesn't matter because that's not what we're talking about.
Nah. Yeah, he was in King Arthur. Directed by Antoine Fuqua.
Fuqua. Don't curse at me like that, sir.
Whoa. Watch your Fuqua mouth.
Well, with that, I think that wraps up our list. I hope you enjoyed these underutilized, underrated characters that we would like to bring into the mainstream. And if you guys have any that you would like to share, where could they do that, Brock?
At dropculture.com.
Oh.
Or...
We have a website?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
You can send messages through dropculturepodcast at Gmail, Yahoo, AOL. I'm pretty sure I got every one of them. And then also...
Just the Gmail, because the AOL and the Yahoo aren't being checked.
No. Yeah, we got free Netscape Navigator trials forever. So we're just living off of those.
You can also catch us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those things that people do that we sometimes do as well.
Yeah, right.
And if you're commenting on YouTube, again, we've been poor stewards of that since we've had a little shake up over the last, I don't know,
year.
So if
Pandemic wasn't nice to us.
Yeah. So if you left some comments and we haven't replied, we're not being rude.
We don't mean it.
Yeah, we're just dumb.
We love you. All right, that's it. Later.
Peace.